Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Second chances, the universe's way of hitting refresh on the game of life. Today in the rLounge, even life needs a Control-Z button sometimes. Up first, weddings are where old flames ignite, insecurities dance, and husbands learn the hard way that high school reunions belong in yearbooks, not on the dance floor. Am I the a-hole for dancing with my high school ex at a wedding? So to give some background, my wife, 28 female, and I, 29 male, have been married for 2 years now. I love my wife. We've had a great relationship so far. All in all, I couldn't be happier. Last year, my wife and I were invited to her best friend's wedding. It was a pretty luxurious wedding, with dances, feasts, drinks, grandeur. You get the gist. During one of the dances, when my wife and I were sitting at the side, a random man asked my wife for a dance. Now, this guy was an objectively good-looking dude, and my wife appeared flustered when he asked her for a dance. She looked over at me, and I told her to go ahead, why not? We were all having fun. There's no harm in my wife having fun too. It wouldn't hurt me. Except it did hurt me internally. I'm not the type to be normally bothered by such trivial matters, but in this instance it did. I tried not to outwardly show it. My wife and this guy were clearly enjoying themselves. I could see my wife was still flustered when they were dancing. I had never seen her blush this much in a long time. I mean, I get it. This guy was objectively good looking, and my feelings were irrational. Well, anyways, over the following days, my wife sensed that I was not myself, and she apologized for the incident. I told her that she had nothing to apologize about, and that was the end of that. We still loved each other, and I realized I probably had to internally work through my own insecurities, which I did, and I was back to normal in a couple of days. Well, fast forward a year, and my wife and I were now invited to my best friend's wedding. This was my best friend from high school, and I expected I'd see some of my old high school mates. The wedding was a blast. I caught up with a lot of my high school friends, including my ex from high school. I'm not going to lie, she looked stunning. During the dances, I asked my wife if I could dance with my ex, and she gave me the go-ahead. Well, I asked my ex for a dance. She agreed, and we danced. She complimented me a lot physically, which made me feel things. I complimented her too. There was a lot of close physical contact, especially during the slow dances, which was probably inappropriate. But at the moment, I was justifying it internally because of my wife's dance last year. Well, we danced for quite some time, and I finally called it all off when it went way too overboard. My ex wanted to continue on, but I somehow found restraint to stop it. By that time, I think the damage had been done, and my wife wanted to go home. We left home early, and my wife straight up cried when we reached home. This hurt me a lot, and she's never hidden her emotions from me, and I apologized. She told me I had no reason to apologize, but I told her I did because what I did was completely inappropriate. I've been making it up to her for the past week by taking her out on dates. She cried some days and I comforted her. I think we're finally back to normal now. Was I the a-hole for dancing with my high school ex at a wedding? There's no judgment bot on this thread, but all top comments were, "You're the a-hole." Ah, the tangled web of wedding dances and emotional landmines. Let's dissect this delicate situation, shall we? Firstly, kudos to you for demonstrating a level of self-awareness usually reserved for monks on mountaintops. Your wife dances with a Greek god. You shrug it off like just another Tuesday. But the moment you're twirling around with your high school flame, it's apocalypse now. Now, let's address the elephant on the dance floor. Was it a tad, shall we say, ill-advised to engage in a tango of nostalgia with your ex while your wife silently wept in her martini? Well, let's put it this way. If your actions were a flavor, they'd be a cocktail of betrayal and regret with a hint of midlife crisis and a dash of fragile ego. Were you the a-hole for twirling down memory lane with your ex? Signs point to yes. Update post. Next day. I am the a-hole. I get it. Hurt my wife massively. I was also a bit drunk. It doesn't excuse what I did that day, but I lost some inhibitions. Looking back, what I did that day was far worse than what I typed in my original post. I was completely inappropriate with her. I'm going to start looking for therapy to work through my insecurity issues. I would like to somehow erase that day from memory. I just don't know what got over me that day. I would never do that in a million years. My ex and I exchanged numbers that day, but I have now cut off all contact from my ex and blocked her. There were no comments from the OP that I could find, but here are a few of the top ones on the update post. First up, you got her number and had to block communication? That means there was communication. What the F is wrong with you? You're a piece of crap. What you did is 1,000 times worse than your wife dancing with a random person. If your wife walks, you only have yourself to blame. Next person. I'm still convinced this is fake and an engagement bait. Nobody could be this dumb. The next person chimes in. Read some of the downvoted comments on the original thread. There's plenty of them defending this because she did the same thing and disrespected him by agreeing to dance with the other guy first. Editor's note, I read them. It was bad. Another person chimes in. Imagine if you were actually a man and told your wife, I don't feel comfortable with you dancing with another man, instead of stewing in your insecurity and letting it all out at once as you dry humped your ex in front of your wife at a wedding. And one more commenter said, Bro, you really need to explain what you mean by inappropriate. The sweet symphony of regret, alcohol-induced amnesia, and the classic, I swear I'm not usually like this defense. You've managed to tick all the boxes. Hurting your wife, losing all sense of decency, exchanging numbers with your ex, the cherry on top, and then miraculously finding the self-awareness to seek therapy. Bravo, truly. It's a performance worthy of an Oscar. Or maybe even divorce papers. Who needs a moral compass when you can have internet strangers throwing virtual tomatoes at you? It's like the modern-day equivalent of being pelted with rotten fruit in town square. May therapy guide you back to the land of good decisions and marital bliss. Or at least keep you from dancing with your ex at the next wedding. Here's hoping you don't have any more best friends. What do you make of this? Up next, what happens at bottomless brunch mimosas unfortunately doesn't stay there. Am I the a-hole for saying I would never have chosen my husband as the father of my child? I, 37 female, and my husband, Liam, 30 male, have 2 children. I'm currently pregnant with our third, and last. Liam is a wonderful husband and a fantastic father. I was out at brunch with a few friends of mine. I was telling them a funny story about my cravings and how Liam has made a cake from scratch for it. A friend of a friend, Paige, said that I chose so well and that she should have put as much thought as I did in choosing him. I have a reputation for being really thorough and thinking things out before doing anything. The responsible one. I told her that I never would have chosen Liam to be the father of her first child, but I'm so grateful he was. I was very lucky. Our pre-marriage life was messy. I was with another man, Dave. Dave was a steady, reliable man, and we had been together for years. Dave made a new friend who was Liam, and I could not help but absolutely hate him. According to him, Liam made Dave feel young again, and he was desperate to reclaim the sense of youth he lost by being responsible since he was young. He spent all of his time with Liam and other bros. Dave would spend every night out partying until 2 or 3 a.m. He spent his entire paycheck and some of my paychecks on wrestling videos and online gambling. He bought a motorcycle. He used our savings to buy crypto. He shaved his head bald. The last straw was him spending $20,000 of my savings to travel. Throughout this, Liam was incredibly disrespectful to me. Dave broke up with me when I asked him to stop hanging out with Liam and his other friends. He immediately moved in with a girl I had concerns about. I felt deeply hurt, and for the first time in my life, I felt like hurting someone in return. I was miserable, out of my mind, and called Liam over. I wanted to ruin their friendship like he ruined my relationship. He was annoyed at Dave for something else and was down for anything. I woke up the next morning realizing that I made a huge mistake, but it was incredible. Unfortunately, my bad decision caught up with me and I got pregnant. Ironic, since I had always wanted children, but I was told I was infertile. Both Liam and I were against children out of wedlock, and we had a small wedding. I was ready to grit my teeth and make the best of our marriage, but surprisingly, Liam turned out to be an incredible partner and father. If it was a mistake, it was the best mistake of my life. Paige was very offended that I said Liam wouldn't have been my choice initially. She said I was making myself superior. She said that she lost respect for me and would never talk to me again. She also messaged Liam to tell him what I said. Was what I said really that bad? Edit. I should probably be clearer, but I'm a lot more unfiltered on Reddit than here. I just said that while we knew each other before, Liam was basically a one-night thing, which is true. My other friends know the truth because a few of them were there when it all unfolded. Dave was furious at first, which is understandable, but we were cordial to each other. I did not get my money back, unfortunately. Ah, the joys of brunch, where mimosas flow freely and secrets spill like maple syrup on pancakes. As if Paige is out here clutching her pearls as if that's the worst thing she's ever heard. And who is she to even let Liam know that? It's really none of her business. Who died and made her the brunch police, swooping in to enforce the unwritten rule of social decorum? At least you're honest, right? It's not every day you serve up truth bombs with your eggs Benedict. So, was what you said really that bad? Not really. I'd say Paige was the one crossing the line here. Update. 6 days later. I got a lot more attention on my post than I thought. Long story short, Paige apologized for overstepping, and we are all good now. Paige reached out to me. She was having a rough time in her own relationship, situationship, and felt I was being ungrateful. I accepted her apology. However, I don't expect us to have a close friendship in the future. I also checked up on Liam. As I've said before, I adore my husband and do not want to make him feel bad. I asked him if he felt hurt by what I said. He says yes, he was deeply offended and I should make up for it with 1,000 kisses plus interest starting right now. The worst thing in my life right now is my baby kicking into my ribs. I miss being able to breathe without a foot of my organs. Several people have questioned how I got the reputation of being thoughtful when I made really bad personal decisions. Honestly, I'm fiscally responsible, organized, and all around a prepared person, but I am dependent on having a stable, boring life and was unequipped to have my personal life fall apart. If I think back to what it was like 10 years ago, I had a good amount of savings, a comfortable career, and close friends. I also had a fiancé who I had been with for years and who had changed into a person I no longer recognized. Someone who lied to me, stole from me, and cheated on me. Liam actually was the one who called me after Dave broke up with me. He told me about how Dave had lied to him and used him in lies and was with the other woman. I was still in shock. He came over to give me some things that Dave had left at his apartment in case it was mine. Some of it was mine, some of it was Dave's trash. I sobbed and blamed him, and he took it and apologized. He kissed me. I said I wanted to ruin his life like he ruined mine. Liam saw Dave as his best friend. He also had trust issues, so lying is off the table. Their friendship was already ruined, but I didn't know that. I was not good at getting revenge, at least spontaneously. We didn't use protection. I had been told I was infertile. My previous 2 partners, my old boyfriend and Dave, never got me pregnant after years. I was ignorant and wasn't told that infertile doesn't mean sterile. I still had a chance of getting pregnant. Having a child out of wedlock is very uncommon and looked down upon, even more than divorce. Because of that, shotgun weddings are actually pretty common. I was excited to be a mother and Liam was, to my surprise, excited to be a father. We decided to put aside our old grievances, be friends, and raise our child happily. I can say that I started falling in love with him through my pregnancy, but it was solidified after my birth. It was traumatic and I tore badly. Liam was such an attentive husband and father. We fell together so nicely, it was hard to notice when he became my soulmate. Part of the reason I hated Liam was that the way we expressed love was too similar. I need quality time and attention, and he needed quality time and affection. There's no limit to the amount of time we want to spend with loved ones. Dave was an introvert who valued time alone. When it was Dave in the middle, I felt as though Liam was stealing my limited time with him. Now it feels nice to have a partner that values and expresses the same kind of love. We are around each other constantly. Liam needs at least an uninterrupted hour a day and more on weekends of my attention solely on him. We could spend entire days just snuggling and kissing. We have an equal partnership. I do take on more of the mental load in terms of finances, investments, doctor's appointments, etc., but Liam acknowledges that and takes on more of the physical load. He insists that I do more, well, I think he does. I am not saying either of us are perfect or that our relationship, but I am very happy with my lot in life. You and Liam are the poster couple for shotgun weddings and unexpected pregnancies. Who knew breaking societal norms could lead to such domestic bliss? It's like flipping the bird on tradition. Love has a knack for showing up unannounced, often in the most unexpected places and at the most inconvenient times. And let's not forget about the beauty of second chances. Thank goodness Liam calls you up after all of that. Here's to love and all the unexpected glory. May it continue to surprise us, challenge us, and fill our lives with joy, even when we least expect it. After all, isn't that what makes the journey worth it in the end? What do you think? Was Opie wrong to say that about her husband? And thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell before you leave. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic, so feel free to leave a comment. See you next time in the rLounge.